Welcome to episode 21 of Loot Level Chat podcast from lootlevelchill.com. My name's Adam Cook, and with me is Lyle Pendle. He's just there if you're watching the video. Hello, Lyle.
Hello, I'm here. It's just the two of us today. We decided that we fired everyone else because we're the best ones. So, yeah, just get used to two people from now on, I guess.
The two hunks are here. Don't worry, it's fine.
It's fine.
We have got plenty of games to talk about. It'd be interesting to see how we can sort of stretch, over, see if it's the normal podcast length or not. But like I think you were away last week, weren't you? So you had a load of games we couldn't talk about. And we'll get to it. I'm having problems because I'm addicted to two games, one of which is fine to be addicted to because it's only just come out, Donkey Kong Bonanza. The other less so. I'll talk about that later because I'm still a bit ashamed of it. So we should just get started really with what you've been playing, I think, because you missed a week, didn't you? So
I did,
What have you been up to?
I've been playing a lot of games, I could probably have talked about like 6 games today if we really wanted, but we'll stick with 3 for now, maybe. Who knows? Okay. You got to stay tuned to find out. Maybe we'll talk about 10 and there'll be all sorts. You're never going to know. But we'll start with my favourite of the bunch because I absolutely love Fretless. Something about Riffson,
the Wrath of
Riffson
or
something.
Wrath. The Wrath. Oh, that's one of those weird words that when you say it too many times. The Wrath of Riffson.
The Wrath of Riffson. Yes. So Fretless is like everything. It thematically is everything I shouldn't want in a video game. Really, like. I don't care about music. I don't care about like rock music, maybe especially more so than the rest of music. I don't care about guitars. I don't care about guitar YouTubers. And that's basically everything about what this game is, in that it's a JRPG that's got characters that are famous YouTuber guitarist
Some
people.
of them really famous as well, by the way. I should say like really, really big names in the world of. I mean, there's a few. I'm going to ask you as we get not because I know you won't know who they are as we progress through this discussion, but there's a few I'm just going to say the names of because I haven't played as much of it as you. I just wonder if they'll jump out or anything like that. So, but please carry on.
Yeah, I'll struggle to remember because weirdly, the story in this game there's not like that much of it. Oddly enough, like it has an overarching story, but the star of the show really is the combat, which is like. Rhythm based, like it's got that perfect like timing based combat that everyone loves, the Paper Mario combat, if we want to call it that, or plenty of other things realistically.
Would that be your main like cultural point for that sort of time? Because I would agree with you, but the other one weirdly that always jumps out to me as I feel like it was a point in time where more of them started doing it. I mean obviously Claire Obscure does this like more than anyone.
That's the modern touch point now, isn't it?
But I mean, it also takes it the next step. But the other one for me is South Park, the first one of the RPGs from Ubisoft. Because I remember...
Butthole.
Yeah. Those games did that as well, and yeah.
Yeah.
Stick of Truth. Stick of Truth was the first one, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, of course it was Stick of Truth. Yeah.
I can't go down this rabbit hole. They were really, really good. I'm just thinking, I'm
you go down enough rabbit holes as it is, don't you?
Well, keep going.
We'll get there. But it has that sort of timing-based thing anyway. But alongside that, it sort of has a little bit of Slay the Spire about it, where you sort of have like a deck of 16. Your attacks or abilities are called riffs because your weapons are guitar or a guitar-adjacent instrument, and you have a deck of like 16 of these. You draw 5 a turn, you play 3 a turn, and it's sort of got that kind of like so it's got sort of the card game element as well in the background. So you pick 3 of them, you do these fun timing based things. You've also got a special attack that's just Guitar Hero because it kind of just makes sense to have a special attack that's just Guitar Hero. But I think what's so special about this game for me is that it's like 6 to 8 hours long, maybe something like that. It's really it's not a lengthy game, but the amount of new stuff it throws at you is like it's almost obscene. It's almost like too much. So like you'll be playing for like the first 30 minutes, maybe an hour with the first instrument, and you'll have all these normal sort of like, so you can guard on a turn to block damage, or you can attack on a turn, and a few different mechanics, and you'll be like, oh, I'm just getting the hang of this. You might have got like 1 or 2 new riffs to think about adding to your deck, and you're like, okay, so I'm going to start maybe mixing it up, and then you get a whole new instrument. You get a bass instead of your acoustic guitar, and the bass works entirely differently. Like, it has different mechanics of like building up, I think it's called slap, that is your like power boost.
Major YouTube influenced thing in the game. Like, okay. That's not the first time you see anyone in the game that is from that world. But Slap is the like Davey 504 is like what I don't know what now, but he was like 4 to 6 million subs. Like, he was probably one of the biggest musical YouTubers there is. And his big thing was he would do music video stuff, musical videos and stuff, but he would like be constantly and slap that like button, and he would and the bass slap obviously is a technique. But like, I think that the reason they went with the slapping, well, I mean, slapping the bass is a completely valid technique for playing bass guitar. But I'm sure that like the slap of Davey 504 and stuff is like,
I'd imagine
leaning to it.
It feels like it makes sense.
It does. Like, you'll probably get to this, but like none of the, because I do want, actually I think it's worth saying this now, because I know if anyone listening is like me, they will be hearing like the idea of, oh, it's like YouTubers and influencers and that, like, and going, I am completely out here. So 100%. would I be. It's not what I play. I actually watched a video, tangent, of the cameos from celebrities in Death Stranding 2, because I finished that game so I can watch the, and I watched them, and there was like 3 I knew who they were. But I'm sure to some, because a lot of it's very, I don't want to sound too old man, but they are very modern people in it. Like, they're very, it's like the daughter of so and so, and I'm like, I don't know who so and so is. I really don't know who their daughter is, and but that sort of thing puts me off rather than makes me go, oh, I really can't wait to play that game and see. Yeah,
and I think probably our whole team, it kind of feels pretty similar.
Say so. There's the occasional one, like we talked, I think last week, about like Jack Black in Tony Hawk's, and it's like, but that's not. It's not like the focus. It's just kind of was there then, and he kind of is there now.
Yeah, exactly. Same.
But this does not in any way hammer it down to the point where I'm pretty sure you weren't even aware of this until I said, oh yeah, this is like that, the guitar influence.
Yeah,
I keep saying guitar, music influences, I should say.
I think I'd played like 2 hours of the game. Like, I was maybe a third of the way through or something like that. And you told me this, and I was like, none of them really like say anything or have given like a big showcase of who they are.
Was that BMX based a Metroidvania that's, I think, is where we had similar thing where
that was like a movie, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'd never heard of them at all. Like, same sort of thing. So it doesn't, it both doesn't matter, but is also, because I'm not like into influences in general. It's not the sort of thing I watch, but I do. There are people in this game I subscribe to on my channel because I like their content, which is why I was curious to ask about some of the names. But like, there's someone like Mary Spender is like early on in the game. I think I read that she like pops up in a village again later on, but she's just there for like incidental dialogue. It's an NPC that I don't think she does anything gameplay wise. She's just there in the village.
That's basically how all of these people feel, as far as I'm concerned, because I can remember the main character and the main villain, and that's basically it from the game, like.
So we should say that Rob is the main character. Rob Scallon is the main character, and he is a very big musical influencer, and he's been going for years. Like, he actually, I don't know if you did watch any of the stuff he does afterwards, but like they do this thing where they do like album in a day once a year, where they go in a studio with fellow other people who do the job, and they just like write and record an album in a day. And I always found them quite cool. But he also does weird, cool stuff that aren't. But if you're not into that sort of, into music, it's not gonna.
Oh, totally. Yeah, but like, and then in this game, so like you say, literally the protagonist is this like well-known music YouTuber, and that's kind of like, you'd think that would be kind of the whole point of the game, but the protagonist is like basically a silent protagonist, so like you wouldn't know, like I didn't know, so like it's never made a big deal of, and he's just on this adventure to save this musical world, which is being sort of corrupted by standard big business keeping the man down type shit. But the world's also full of like weird mutant musical monsters that you'll need to fight that have been made by the baddies.
I did enjoy the fact that you just suddenly are fighting like for me, the reference, there was one that was reminding me of, I don't know if you, I mean, we're not that dissimilar age-wise, but if I said Evil Edna?
No, not at all.
No, okay. Well, I won't bother explaining, but there's like a TV enemy in this, isn't there, that's like a CRT TV, and I was like, oh. But then they actually straight away kind of explain, oh, yeah, that's because I did experiments and stuff, and that's, oh, okay, well, fair enough, mate. Well, it's quite cool that they do that. They bother.
Yeah, no, it is. It's really cool for that. And I also just love that it's... So obviously music is a big part of this game. So like whatever weapon you're using sort of has a different like battle theme, basically, that your attacks, when you do the timing based things, they'll like slot into the music, so you'll sort of like be joining into the song. That's really cool. The worlds you explore just have like musical bits where like you'll walk through some flowers and one will like suddenly do a little flourish and stuff like that. It all connects together into this world that makes it this lovely seamless experience. And yeah, you just get, like I say, the fact how much this game evolves. Like it could have been, you could have just as much new like weapons and new attacks in a game that was like 3 times as long as this, and you wouldn't think it didn't have enough ideas. So instead, like for me, in fact, there was a weapon that I used in one battle and then was like, if I do another playthrough, I'll probably use that for most of it, because, you know, that would be a cool way to try that out, because I didn't feel the need to change from the Equalizer was my favorite weapon, because it applied all these like different stat buffs. That applied all these different stat buffs and stuff. But yeah, it's just this really cool, totally different like JRPG that's got this really cool theme that's not, you know, typical for the genre at all. The rhythm combat's great. It's got a little bit of the card mechanics and that sort of thing that I love. And then yeah, it just keeps this theming so well, like that you equip different pedals for your stat buffs, and you like get new strings for your weapons and stuff that, you know, just adjust them that little bit for different builds and gives you different things to do.
It's sort of, I can't really think of a game that, I suppose, you know, the one I would, this is not like this game before I say anything, but you know, like Astrobot has specific parts of it that will kind of make you do the squee thing where you're like, oh my god, I can't believe this is in this game. Like that reference is a deep cut, and it's for me. The musical stuff, right, from someone who is into his music and plays multiple instruments, sort of thing. That's not a brag. I just want for comparisons. Like it's not like hyper nerdy in that, like it's like really. I mean, some of the synth stuff does actually have some quite particular language in it, though, where it's like, even I'm like, I know what most of that means, but like the modulation and shit. These are all real things, but they are like most people will have heard the word or have some kind of. But like you say, the pedals, they're not like. I don't recall them anyway being specific branded pedals. It's like, just this is a distortion pedal that does X, and like you say, you get your acoustic guitar, then you get some strings which will add a mod to it, then you get like a little tuner that you can clip on to, and it doesn't actually do anything tuner wise. But I must admit that for me was like a nice little. That's kind of cute. I kind of like that. That's like sweet. I've got one of them. That is, you know, you just like a cheap Amazon-y thing that you clip on the end of your guitar that will help you tune your. Like it's a nice little thing like that, and a lot of it feels that way. That like if you know, it's nice. And it feels kind of like, yeah, that's cool. Like I say, seeing, I don't want to keep using Mary Spender, but seeing like Mary Spender in the games, like, I've watched her do stuff, like, you know, and she's cool and like a nice person, it seems, and all that is nice, but it doesn't matter if you're like, that's just someone called Mary. I don't mean to keep, but like I'm struggling. So I haven't played as much of you as you have, because I had an issue with it pre-release, and like that is something that was down to a patch pre-release, so it's not a thing you need to worry about. I really hope this does well and comes to consoles, because it reminds me of, and I want to say the same thing for that, is Beyond Galaxy Land from last year. That was again an RPG with loads of cool ideas that wasn't really long. I think it was a bit longer than this. And there was another one you mentioned to me, it was more like it had like a retro 80s-y feel to it.
Oh, yes. Was it Jack Move?
That's
that what it's called?
Yeah. So there is definitely people out there making these kind of RPGs. So I was going to ask you, the one thing like with Beyond Galaxy Land is I really felt like, oh, this game's amazing, and then it ended.
Yeah.
Does this feel, you know, it ends and it's like, oh, okay, that's cool.
I didn't really feel that way. No, I mean, okay. I will say it's like I said about the whole like using one of the weapons once, in that like I had more things than I ever really got chance to use, because like I found what worked for me. But at the same time, like I think especially because it didn't feel like it has like a story. You don't level up traditionally either. You just sort of get more like upgrades in other ways. So like it didn't feel like it was something where it was like, oh, there's more of this for me to see now. And the story, as I say, it's sort of a bit more, I don't want to say threadbare in a bad way, but it's not the focus of the game. So it didn't feel like it was this abrupt ending where I was like, oh, they could have spun this out longer and stuff like that, because it wasn't really the point of it. So it ended where I wanted it to be honest.
No,
and yeah,
fair.
it was just a really nice, easy experience.
So before we move on, let me shout some names at you, just see if any of them come up. So Paul Davids.
For all of these, by the way, I'm going to say not that I remember, because not only did I finish this game about 10 days ago, or an eternity, but for every single one, they could be an NPC that I spoke to once and never thought anything of.
Well, all right, in that case, I'll just ask one more then, because he's probably the biggest name at the moment, I would say. Rick Beato, again, and his name's quite interesting.
It is a bit, I don't remember. No, not
he'd be an older dude with like whitish grey hair and a beard. I mean, I know it's pixel art, but like,
yeah, I don't think so. That's the one I'm most confident saying probably not, but who knows? Okay, maybe he is.
Yeah, there is. I mean, from what I don't know any of these people, but there does seem that sort of like individual. There's groups who you always see doing like collabs together, and then other groups who do them together, and they don't seem to mix.
Yeah,
so
it's same like with anything. Pokemon YouTube. Yeah, you get this sense that some people just have these groups where they all befriend each other, and it just works out that way.
Yeah, friend groups, I think, is probably So okay, but yeah, like if you've got a PC, or I will say specifically like a handheld gaming PC like a Steam Deck. It's cracking on.
Bloody good on a Steam Deck. Yeah.
Steam Deck. And so I would imagine the same for ROG Ally and all the others that are out there. But I doubt it's expensive. But have a look at the gameplay. I was genuinely gutted I didn't get to play more, but it was one of those where it just happened. This happened basically. I lost my save game, long story short. And it happened at a time where I was like, I can't play 2 hours of that again. Right now,
you basically got Donkey Kong at the same time, or something.
Kinda, and I think there was 2 or 3 things that I was, and the thing I'm not mentioning, I was suddenly finding myself really wanting to play. So, I will go back to it. And that's why I kind of hope this comes to console, so I've got like a really good excuse to have to.
Yeah,
it would be so fair. Good on Switch too. But just saying.
It would.
What's next, Lyle? What's next?
What's next? Well, it's whatever the hell I decide is next, isn't it? Because I'm the one with all the games today, I guess.
I could talk about my secret game, but like,
I'll go on then. Do your secret shame.
Okay. So for some reason, I just randomly decided, and this happens once every few years, and every time I do it, I hit a bug or something, or just it doesn't work, and I'm like, fine, you don't want me to play you. But it happened again, and I downloaded Destiny.
Oh, right, yep. Oh, if only Mick was here.
I know, I'm actually kind of glad, because he would just be there, like, grinning the whole time. But, like, so trust me, we have been talking a lot. And the reason, obviously, there's a big new expansion, and I'm not the guy to talk about any of that stuff, but I'm not going to try and blag my way through it, because I just want to talk about that. Look, I'm not going to blow anyone's mind here. The shooting in that game is so fucking good. Like, it's so good. You play it, and you're like, this is of course, because they made Halo.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You sort of play it and you're like, this is great. The onboarding's I don't want to be unkind, but the onboarding is something else. Like I basically figure, right, the way to do this is to go to the quests menu and just do what it says there, regardless of anything the story happening, because I'm never going to be able to work the story out at this point. It's 10 years old, this game. So I did that, and then I was sending Mick pictures going, is this a bug? And then I found a YouTube video of some dude doing the same quest I was on, and basically, when he did a thing I did, the quest marker moved from where I was to another door. He went to that door, and he opened it. So I went, I'll just go to that door. The door doesn't open, so there's obviously something not happening. So I thought I got a bug. Mick looked it up for me, knowing the game better, and he said, I know, what you need to do is, for this to work, you have to have done this other bit of story on that planet. And I'm like, but how the fuck would I know that? Don't tell me this is my objective, and it's not. Like, that's the worst kind of... But look, I'm not going to rag on the game, because there are people who love this game. And I will say, the from where I've played it along the years at different stages, it's always felt impenetrable. This is the most, penetrable I guess it feels.
Yeah.
This is the most I feel I can penetrate Destiny. But the shooting's just moreish. It's like, I don't know if I've played so many different FPSs that it's like, you know what? I'm sort of tired of all, like, you know, whether it's like, oh, we're trying to be a boomer shooter, we're trying to be an immersive sim. I was playing this and I was just going, it sort of threw me back a little bit. Like I say, it made me go, oh, the Halo guys, this feels great. This feels really great. Like, yeah, it sort of also tinges you a little bit with sadness when you think about that, because reasons, you know, like Marathon and that. But I also sort of finally understood why. Well, don't know. Did we call them Destiny fans or Bungie fans? But either or, are pissed off at Marathon because people don't want that. They want more of this. And I sort of like
game that they've been playing forever and has a lot of really, really good stuff about it. I guess
it also has some weird shit. Like, I can't think of a game. I know you're not a big MMO player, and I'm certainly not either. But I can't think of a game that's done this where they just sunset content. Now I know that does happen in big games, but in this, what they've done is that they've sunset these major story expansions that people paid for. And what they've done is they've made the last bit of that content playable still. So you get a cutscene introducing roughly what's going on. You get to play it, and then a cutscene telling you what happened at the end. And you're like, right, okay. So why didn't you just leave it in then? So I could have just played it as in... I don't know. I'll never know. But yeah, my secret shame is I have been playing and honestly really kind of liking Destiny, which is...
That is very weird, yeah. I wasn't expecting it. I didn't go in knowing this. I was intrigued to what you were going to say, because you posted a screenshot of Metroid Fusion at one point this week, I think.
So,
and I was like,
so I started those two on the same day. So I don't know what happened on that day. I don't know if it was just one of those ones where I can't. There's nothing is scratching the itch, and then I was like, Metro Fusion is actually, to be fair, I played half of that in a day and a half. I was just sat there and I was like, God damn, this is a good video game, and I just kept playing it somehow. And then next day I was like, I'm going to keep playing it a bit more. And now you've said it out loud, I'm sort of going, oh yeah, I didn't finish it. So
next week.
yeah, maybe. No, back to you. I mean, we could talk about No Sleep for Kaname Date from the AI Somnium Files.
From AI The Somnium Files. You were very close.
Okay. Now, I've never played one of these before, but you have. Yes, so let's start with you. You know, like, and we'll get a newbie's impression.
Introing, yes. So it's basically a sequel to those games, although they make it sound a bit like a spin-off. But yeah, it's a full AI The Somnium Files game. I actually only played the second AI The Somnium Files for a review way back when, and they had this cool mode where it was like, if you played the first game, we'll make it a bit different if you haven't, so that you aren't completely baffled by what's going on. So, you know, I chose that, and that was helpful. But now I knew everyone and stuff and went into this game, and it's basically like, it's sort of got three types of gameplay, and one of them is that you investigate places as main character and pornography addict Kaname Date.
Right, so we do need we have to address that a little bit, because we
probably do, yeah.
As a newcomer, doesn't really, unless I missed it, explain. So is Kaname Date the main character of all of the games?
He's the main character of the first game that I didn't play, I believe, and he's like one of two main characters in the second. So basically, he is in all of them, yeah. And he's
just into porn, but really, not in a sexy way. But
it's kind of in a sexy way, but it's never like, I'm going to wank to this later.
That's what I'm getting at. So what I played of this, again, not as much of you, but I never got the impression he's like, oh yeah, I collect loads of porn because I love wanking. God, no, that's a soundbite that's going to get taken, isn't it? But like, do you know what I mean? It never. It very much seems like he's very serious about his pornography and a proper collector, in the way that I collect amiibos.
Yeah, it was. His porn collection was like your amiibo collection. Yeah, like same thing, really. And yeah, it is. It's like, it's just like being excited a new magazine's out or a new game's out. Or do you know what I mean? Right. It's an art for him, and he is a pervert. Let's also not get that wrong.
Yeah,
because like, you can go to. There's an idol cafe that's been in a lot of the things, and if you use the X-ray scanner on the waitress there, it just shows like her skeleton, but every time you use it, he just comments on like how wide some of her bones are or something in a slightly pervy way. And like he is a pervert, but it's never really played as being like, I don't know, disgusting. It's almost sort of weirdly charming. I think some of that is that he has like an AI eyeball companion that's always like putting him down, so you don't have to worry as much about it. And he's never.
Yeah, that's true.
And he's generally, despite this, a good person trying to save and help people. It's just he also is a pervert, and that's, I guess, okay in this game.
You are right though. Anytime he does, that's probably why I think he's not into it in that way. Because anytime he gets close to trying to discuss it in that way or anything, the AI eyeball will just like slap him down so quick that like
she's used to this shit.
Yeah,
she's been there a while, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically you play as pornography man Kaname Date, and you know you'll just go from place to place, talk to people, look at objects, do like point and click adventure game stuff, but not like in a like in-depth you struggle with what you do next way. Like it's sort of like point and click by way of visual novel, where you just sort of like you go somewhere, you chat to someone, you go somewhere else, you chat to someone, you can examine a few bits, but it's not that important. It's just a way to, you know, find out about the story of which is that there is a girl called Iris who's in all of these games who has been kidnapped, and you're trying to work out if it was by aliens, because it seems to be by aliens, but everyone also seems to admit that like they don't really think it would be aliens, because isn't that a bit weird?
Now, I know the aliens thing's new because we have an interview on LootLevelChat.com, the website LootLevelChill.com, where you ask that question specifically, like about aliens and stuff.
And they just said, well, aliens exist, so we were allowed to put them in our game, is basically their answer. And great interview, by the way. They were very fun.
Yeah, do read that. It's a good interview.
Yeah. But yeah, has been kidnapped by, we think, aliens, and is, because of that, trapped on a spaceship in a series of escape rooms.
Yep.
And you play out those escape rooms as Iris and maybe a few other people later on. But
I want to add the phrase lengthy escape rooms.
Oh, yeah, they're like...
Some of them.
And not just lengthy, but like really quite difficult escape rooms.
Or we're both dim.
There's always
you've
that
got to
option,
flip the coin, and people could be playing this going, they're really not hard, lads. But you know what? It does make me wonder. I've never done a real life escape room.
No, same. Maybe we'd be terrible at them.
I kind of want to now, because I don't know if I'm just shit at them, stupid, or I just at some point later on the bloke or woman running or knock on the door go, I want to go home, mate. I finished work 3 hours ago. You've been in there all day. Yeah, okay. But yeah, they are. They're not like every moment of them isn't hard. But there are bits of each one I've played where you're like, fucking hell, come off it. Like, the first one, I knew the solution, but I couldn't work it out.
Yeah, 100%. And that's usually what happened with me as well. There'd be a moment in each of them where I was like, well, I know this code is related to this, and they want me to do something to change this code somehow, or, you know, something vague like that. And every time, no matter what combination of it I did, I'd be like, why am I not getting this?
Yeah,
and why are
wrong with me?
And why are all the characters around me saying, oh, basically you just do this. Look, I'm telling you the solution. And then I would go, but I don't know you mean.
You're
not
not.
helping me
The hint button is like, so the hint button to me, and again, you've played more of it, the hint button feels to me like if you are really, really dim. Like, and I don't mean that nastily, but like the hints are like, they give you a hint and you're like, well, I fucking know that. I know that you're highlighting the things I can interact. I've done them all 100 times. That's not the problem. The problem is I can't work out the solution, and like you repeating the same line to me. Well, maybe if you did that, and that's like, no, I know that. But that's not the full, complete puzzle solution. You're giving me a bit of it. I don't know, I don't know.
We basically both went back and forth in this game and helped each other on different escape rooms, didn't we? Where I think I'd already got past one, but I didn't know why I had. I just had tried numbers madly, and it had worked. And I was like, can you tell me why I got that right? And you were in one of the earliest ones, and just
the first one,
like,
it was the mirror image.
First one,
yeah.
and it was just a mirror image, but it didn't really make it very clear. And I remember I
can't describe it without a visual. I was going to say, to me, I got it. I know it's mirrored, but for some reason my brain was only flipping one of two numbers, so I just couldn't, and I don't know why. And as soon as you said it, and I was like, oh my god, like it is again. So I didn't then go, oh, that was too hard. I'm like, what? Why could I not see that? But I think that's all right. I think that's a good puzzle game.
For sure, but like it was one of the few things that made me be like, I do have to sort of mention this a bit, because it doesn't feel great to get stuck, and at the same time, like when there's a hint button that doesn't really help you, that's not ideal, you know. Like it could have worked out something to in the middle there. I feel that would have helped us too specifically anyway. But
is it? I want to say Professor Layton did this where, I don't know, that's going back some, so forgive if not. My memory might be incorrect, but I vaguely remember there being like. And other games have done this where there's like 3 stages of help, where the first one is like a basic hint, and you're like, okay, yeah, no, I already knew that. Second one would be like, okay, here's a heavier hint, and the third one is like, look, fucking do this. And this, I don't think this has that. I think it is just like the hint is this.
It just has you press the hint button. You might be able to talk to them a few times, and they'll like change it up and add a bit more, but it never felt like it was the right sort of level of help, at least to me, in a few of these specific situations. Anyway,
it also has the cool shit like I think it was a Resident Evil 3D shit where you pick up an item and you can move it around and you'll find a clue on the item or breaking the item open. And I remember that in that first sort of tutorial escape. That's the joke of it. The one I got stuck on was the tutorial escape room. But I remember sort of thinking, oh, this is really cool. Like I love that it's got all of this, and it's not just an escape room. Like you will find items that need combining or breaking, or there's a number on the back of that one. That's relevant. The escape rooms, I think, I think it's great. I do. It
is. It's really cool, and it's one of those things where I wouldn't say this game is worse than other games in the series, because it has them and they have some issues. I'd say I really like this edition, and I would have liked a little bit more help with them in certain bits. But yeah. They're the escape rooms, the alien spaceship escape rooms that you do in the game. And then you do something else in the game too, the third part of the game, which is, this is a series, a thing that will be familiar to other series fans, but you go into the like dream minds of a person. I mean, usually in these games, it's you go into the minds of multiple people to find things out. But in this game, you go into the mind of one person who you don't actually know who it is. And you have to sort of do these weird dream sequences where you have to sort of follow objectives while a timer goes down from 6 minutes, and it's basically very hard to explain them. They're kind of baffling, they're a bit odd, they're a little bit trial and error sometimes, which can be a bit frustrating, but they're also, you know, they're very cool if you just like completely weird shit. And in this game, don't get us wrong, it is completely weird shit, isn't it?
Oh god, yeah. The Somnium sections are the ones I've only played one of them, and they're the ones I was the least sure of. Like I could compare it to so the main, I guess the through line of the game, the moving around areas, the investigating stuff reminded me of the detective. Oh Christ, what was it called? The recent one Nintendo did, the new one.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Famicom Detective
Club. Yeah.
Yes, they reminded me of that. The escape room stuff is escape room stuff. The Somnium stuff, I can't really think of much I've played like it, and I'll be honest with you, I think I need to play another one of them. Not games, I mean another one of those sections, because I just didn't really get it. Like I couldn't quite work out, is this linear? Is it not?
Yeah.
There is definitely a fail state, but
there is a fail state, and there are things you can do wrong, and there are things that you can do to make sure you use less time up with like different weird sort of buffs you can apply to your actions and stuff like that. So there's a few different elements. Yeah, it is one of those things where I think if you do a few of them, and especially if you do a few of them and maybe fail one and have to do it an extra time, which will happen at some point, and it's not ideal. It doesn't feel great to have to do one of these quite lengthy sections again. But if that happens, you'll kind of understand what you then need to do and how it all sort of functions. But they are unlike anything else, and they're definitely cool in that they're just sort of bizarre and break the laws of, like, you know, time and space, because you're in some sort of dream world. So yeah, they're really cool, and it just all adds up. All these 3 things add up to this very odd game that has quite a lot of variety in it. A completely batshit story. And like, it's also like, I feel like when I talk about a game like this, I expect it to then be like, oh yeah, and it's 6 hours long. And these games are all like 20 plus. Like, they're big games. Like, they're not, this isn't something where you'll finish it and you'll be like, okay, I got all I needed out of it, and you know, I followed this like fairly straightforward story. Like, no, this is a well thought out long story that you're going to be, you know, playing your way through.
It's I mean, I've said basically, you know, what I think of it as well. But like the only reason I'm not going back to it is like if there's one weird, very Japanese game I really want to play more of, I kind of want to finish my, I don't know what number playthrough of 100 Line.
Yeah, that's fair. In fact, yeah, if you were gonna say that these two games are kind of like very entirely different games, but sort of in the same like sci-fi Japanese weird genre,
100%.
Then that's the one where like that's as high up as it really gets. So
I mean, that game. Tangent again, why not? That game worries me in that as the year goes on, I see less and less people mentioning it, and that's still one of my very favourite games of this year.
Couldn't agree more. It's a game where the more I play of it, because it just keeps opening up more and more, and obviously, like, you know, when I reviewed it, I'd seen multiple endings, so I felt like pretty confident in my review. But now as I've played more and more as it's opened up, I go, that 9.5 is looking just a touch low now.
It's really difficult. We will move on because it's difficult to, like, what makes that game over the edge incredible is such a big spoiler.
It is, yes.
I find that really brave in terms of making a video game where you basically have to go, I kind of have to spoil the end of this game to tell you why you fucking have to play this game. Because that's so, like, if I were like, well, Death Stranding 2 is amazing, here's what happens at the end, you'd be like, no, because there's no reason to then play the game. Play that game.
Yeah, that is,
play that game.
And it's, and that point where you go, oh, this is why you have to play this game, and it's amazing. It's like a full-length 20-hour-ish game to get to that point. Yes. Like, it's not just some, like, oh, you do sort of multiple playthroughs of this game and they're all a few hours long. Like, no, there's none of that shit.
Do you know what? I can... no. I want to sort of... Nier Automata is the closest I can think to what this game does. I think that's the
one that people sort of bring up, as a...
and I'll say no more.
It's not the same as that either, but it's the closest comparison we've got.
When you finish it, you haven't finished it, I suppose, is the easiest way.
Exactly.
Another game on your list that I'm excited to hear about and have got and haven't started and really do want to play is a Metroidvania, Shadow Labyrinth. Now,
yes, and this is a game that I played a lot of in a very short amount of time, and it's all a fun blur, but I fucking loved this game. And
bad name for a game, though?
Oh, it is a bad name for a game.
Should it be called Pac-Man Shadow Labyrinth?
Yes, 100%.
Because I just feel like that's a selling...
Or even Shadow Labyrinth Pac-Man, have Pac-Man in there somehow. It's not like... It's not massively Pac-Man-esque, I guess, but there are moments, and it is... weird, dark, fantasy, sci-fi Pac-Man in a Metroidvania. One of my favourite things about this game, as a little bit of a tangent, is that once I saw like the review scores averaging out and them being a bit lower than mine, I had a little peek around, and almost all the negatives were how difficult it was, and that wasn't there for me, so that's why I rated it higher. So maybe everyone else is just worse than me. Could be. We can't possibly comment.
No.
Who knows? Who could possibly think that? It's very, very short and not that humble brag aside.
But while we're on tangents, there's another thing. Is a similar thing, right? A lot of people are saying, and you must have seen or heard this with Donkey Kong Bonanza, how everyone's saying it's too easy.
Yeah.
I have a theory on this. People who think Donkey Kong Bonanza is too easy are people who haven't played as much of Donkey Kong Bonanza as they think they've played.
Okay.
So at like 12, 15 hours, you would be forgiven for thinking, I've played a lot of this game. And you have in terms of hours, but it's only then if you're like, I thought I was quite far in. Then I spoke to Steve, who was much further than me, and he's like, I had to look, just know how far I was in, and I'm not that far. And I'm like, oh shit, okay, this game is a lot bigger than I thought it was. So I think, yes, it is quite easy, that game, but I'm at the point where now I'm like, I'm not dying lots, but it is certainly becoming more difficult. So,
okay, interesting. I'm so excited to play that. I need to, but I'm moving
dangerous
house right now. Like,
it's a dangerous video game, man. Like, every time I'm like, I haven't played that today, pick it up and I'm like, why is it dark? Why is it dark? What happened? Where has everybody gone?
Yeah,
it's dangerous. Like, if you think of the moons of Odyssey, it's dangerous. Like, just battering through a brick wall because there's like, there's a all intents and purposes moon. Anyway, sorry, Shadow Labyrinth, Pac-Man.
Shadow Labyrinth, Pac-Man. Shadow Labyrinth. It's a Metroidvania. It's quite a it almost is like quite a straightforward sci-fi Metroidvania. It's like it's got combat that is much. I was kind of expecting something a bit more fast-paced and
is it melee or
it is? Yeah, it is
entirely
melee.
It
this is
like
testing my memory more than anything.
If there are ranged, it certainly sounds like they're not the focused.
Yeah, it's definitely much more not. Yeah,
are we talking like swords ranged.
Basically your starting weapon is like a sword, like an energy sword type thing. Ooh. And you're getting up close and personal and fighting these things, and really quickly you'll realize, or if you don't, you'll die a lot, that like you're not going to be like jumping in and out and getting hits, killing enemies quickly. You're going to be hitting and then you're going to be rolling through. You're going to be like Dark Souls rolling through attacks to survive, and if you don't, it will go terribly for you very, very quickly. And a lot of boss fights will go terribly for you very, very quickly because of either that or just how much you have to learn to figure out how to beat that boss fight. And it's just like it's just such a cool game in how all these different systems work. So you're basically some like mystery swordsman whose like conscious has been downloaded onto a robot into like a robot form by a floating robot Pac-Man.
I want to say when you named like they're literally, isn't he called like Swordman?
And number 8.
Yes, and there was a moment when editing the review where I nearly messaged you going, "Did you put this in as a placeholder and forget to put the?" And I realised that I read on, I'm like, "Oh no, that's how generic they are with this." Okay,
Swordman number 8, and you've been uploaded into this body by Puck, who is a little yellow floating chomping robot who follows you around and wants you to like overthrow evil aliens who are on this alien planet. So
that sounds mental.
It is quite mental.
And straight away I'm like, what?
And what's so weird about this is how much, for so much of this game, you'll be playing it, and everything that Puck, who is just Pac-Man, he's just a little slightly robotic-looking Pac-Man, is like, he feels like he's completely leading you on, like leading you down the garden path, and is like the most evil character in this game, and it's Pac-Man. And it just feels so wrong.
So is it Pac-Man?
I mean, he's called Puck and he's yellow and he jumps things. I don't know if he's like the Pac-Man. I don't know.
That's what I mean.
Necessarily works.
Because Pac-Man is just called Pac-Man, right? I've not gone to sleep
and
somewhere.
He's called Puck, and he's also called other things at other points in the game. But yeah, he's basically he is Pac-Man. He also possesses you whenever he wants to then sort of project a dark. You'll have seen in the trailers where there's like a big dark Pac-Man that eats an enemy. That's him like taking over your body and doing that without your like consent.
So, right, fucking hell! I mean, about 10 questions came to my mind then. But the one, I think in the review, I've used a screenshot where it looks like Pac-Man, just little yellow Pac-Man, tromping along.
Yeah,
is that Puck?
That's not Puck's normal form. That's when you and Puck combine together to go along these lines that are on walls that basically you can chomp along to like get up places. It's like a morph ball track in a Metroid game.
Except you're Puck. Well,
except you're Puck, Pac-Man combined. Yes.
Right. Okay. Sorry. Carry on.
Yeah. And when you consume enemies by doing this whole dark Pac-Man eats a thing, like motion, you get like materials that you use to upgrade yourself and get like sort of like Ori and the Blind Forest Will-o'-the-Wisp style perks that you can equip a certain amount of, and that'll help you have sort of like different builds that might make you survive a bit better and maybe give you things that can help you get to other places.
Sorry, I'm not trying to do the dead air thing. I'm just, my brain's a little.
No, it's fine.
So
I mean,
I feel like I should have fucking played this because I want to, but like the more you're describing it, I'm like, what? So it is a standard Metroidvania in that you get new abilities.
you get lots of new abilities. Yeah, you'll get like your air dash.
Right, that's what I was going to say. So you're playing the dude, Swordman number 8.
Yeah.
You get abilities that traversal abilities mainly, or
lots of traversal abilities. You also get just like standard upgrades. You get fairly early on. You get the ability to like fuse with Puck into a massive invincible robot for a little bit of time, which is very useful.
No, of course,
because of course you do. But also you get,
hang on. So Puck is when he's not taking over your body without consent.
Yeah,
is he? Where is he? Is he like just?
He's
it
just
like
sort of
Donkey Kong where his
next to
pauling's
you.
on your shoulder? Sort of he's there. He is there. He's there the whole
floats,
time.
yeah, but he floats. He's just sort of like a floating orb that wanders next to you, and he collects the like currency that drops when you kill enemies, especially if you have a certain perk. So he just sort of whackers off to go and eat these little pellets and bring them back to you.
Does he speak?
Yeah, he is fully text. I mean, there's not really like voice.
Okay,
because
for a minute I was like, what?
Yeah, but he'll just have full conversations like that are like really like, you know, like full on sci-fi gibberish to random like commanders of military bases and stuff.
Does he make? So you said whack a whack. Does he do that noise?
He does do that at certain times. Yeah, not like
sounds
always.
Insane. Like this sounds like the most awkward juxtaposition of darkness and silly. I'm into it. Don't get me wrong. I'm like going, this is making me want to play. Like all the horrible kind of dark stuff that you're describing, and then that whack like.
Yeah, no, it's. And then you'll get to bosses, and they're the ghosts from Pac-Man taking over different robots who.
Like the little ghosty comes, like a little
the little ghosty things,
Blinky or something comes on, and then just like.
Mm-hmm. But it'll be like
kind of like Metroid's taking over.
Kind of. So you'll get to like some big, you know, like just your standard. Think of what a mech suit looks like, but like on its like where its head would be. There's just sort of like a splodge of binge and eyes.
Okay, no, that's it. You sold it. That's all I need. Yeah. That's done. 100% done. Because like I'm trying to work out what it compares to. Like what if I mean you and I have played a lot of Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
What would be the near? Is it you're making it sound nearer to Metroid?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's Metroid if it had melee combat. Basically, is where it's like it's a very weird blend there, but it's definitely more Metroid. It reminds me of was it Ghost Song that I really loved a few years ago. I think that was a Humble published game that I really liked. That was a really cool Metroidvania. It's got a little bit of like that sort of slower paced melee combat that makes me think of like Souls games, but in 2D where I can tolerate them.
Is it long?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
20
like really
plus hours.
Oh, it's really long. Wow.
Yeah. Those 3 days were a bit of a blur, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that reminds me of the old days. Yeah. Oh, okay. I was gathering from a lot of what I'd read it was long, but I wasn't sure if that was like long for a Metroidvania or long.
Actually long, yeah. No, it's there's a lot to it. And yeah, the thing I think would put a lot of people off would be the difficulty, because I do think it is like it doesn't really play around. It's just, but like for me it was more like it was usually just boss fights where it went kind of badly, and you know, I feel like if you're retrying a boss fight, that's not that abnormal for a game, you know, like
boss fights shouldn't really be one shot every time. That's not a good boss fight.
Exactly. Like that's where I landed with it, and I enjoyed, you know, the vast majority of them. There were some that, like, you know, it was a 20 attempts. Like, I want to get this review done. Thanks.
Yeah, please die.
Moment. Yeah. But you know, that's fair enough for the situation, I feel.
Unique situation, like, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And then you've got, like, I mean, I guess other negatives are it doesn't really give you like direction very well. Like the map's fine and stuff like that, but like you'll get an objective of like you need to go to this place and do something, but there won't be a marker. It'll just be like you'd better just sort of follow the path and hope it goes well. And for the very, very most part, it did for me. But like I just think that like there's an element of like I would get to destinations sometimes and think, if I'd gone that other way, would I be like completely fucked right now? Like, did I just get really lucky with the route I took, or is this going to be a bit more like? Is it a bit more cleverly designed where it would have all led back to the same path? And I never really figured that out. It just sort of felt like
I'll be able to find out for you.
You'll be the one to find out.
I'm sure I'll be able to work that one out for you nice and easily when I come back going, fuck you and fuck Pac-Man.
Yeah, and because that's what I think this game's going to do. I think it's going to make some people fully say, fuck Pac-Man. But it's a shame because this could easily be another one of these Switch 2 games that you just go, oh yeah, this is like giving this console a lot of reasons to play it right now. And I feel like I'm getting a lot of reasons to play it right now already. All of a sudden, it feels like that slightly dead time after launch is like well and truly over now, and it will be forever.
Like, hopefully, like, soon we can get like Chris White on another episode when you're on as well, and you can talk about. I didn't even played it yet, but WWE's come out on Switch, and we'll be covering that. Hopefully,
Mario Party,
yeah. Like, hopefully you can compare some notes on WWE, because I've seen a brief video of that, and I think looks really really good. So okay, let's. Well, you can read reviews of all three of those games. Yeah, all three of those games from Lyle on lootlevelchill.com. And quick reminder. Sorry, go on, Lyle.
I'm also very, very quickly going to shout out one more game that I'm not going to mention much about because it would be very, very easy to spoil. But there's a hacking game I told you about today, and a review went up of at the time of recording called Split, but with dots between all the letters.
Is there? I was curious. Is there an acronym of something? It must be.
I have no idea, but probably. Yeah.
Split, to all intents and purposes.
It's called Split. It's from the person who made Bookshot Roulette.
That bit I wasn't aware of somehow. Missed that. So cool.
It's a short form game, takes about an hour to 90 minutes.
Okay.
And is at the start of the game all like about doing like really, really in-depth hacking with only a keyboard. You can't even use your mouse in this game. Like, it has a photo when you start the game of a mouse being unplugged by, the old school style, like 7-pin screw in the back of your PC.
Wow.
It has that unscrewed as a little picture and just says mouse not required. And you don't use the mouse. You just do it all on the keyboard. You type out full-on command prompt things to change folder directories and look at files and stuff. And there were a decent amount of times where I thought, oh, this game is I'm gonna hate this game, and I'm not gonna be able to finish this game. I'm gonna hate it, and this is gonna have made me miserable. And then after that, it becomes much more about the story of this game, which is as dark as stories get. And I won't go any further than that, but I will say, I don't know if I've been impacted by a game as heavily as I have by Split in a very, very long time. And I think it's very impressive in how it does that. And as long as you're okay with, very, very dark themes and read the review for a little bit of what that sort of is about, then it's something quite special, worth playing. But we won't go in more depth because I'm not spoiling anything about it, because it shouldn't be.
Fair enough. But that'll be out by the time this podcast's up, isn't it?
Yeah.
So, yeah. We can... before we get a question of the week, just to mention as well, patreon.com/lootlevelchill if you want to help us out that way. We do an exclusive extra podcast every week. I think we may not have one this week, so that's a terrible way to introduce it.
Worst advert time, but don't worry.
But we have had one every week since we started the website in February. So
yes.
That's a pretty good going. But question of the week, it comes from Thomas. He sent me a few that I'm going to dole out over the week. And this one is, he says, I was recently high-fived by Rory the Bear at a holiday park when the wee dudes in front got fist bumped. I also think the 90s are only 20 years ago. What signs of advancing years do you experience? What signs of basically getting older?
Question.
I think mine are boring. Mine are the obvious boring ones. I make noise when I stand and sit down now, and sometimes I don't mean to. It just happens. It's not... Because I used to think, all right, we know you're tired. But I didn't realise when I was younger, no, you're not. It's not an attention-seeking thing. You don't have any say in this. You just go, or you don't... It's not something you mean to... I tell you one that I noticed recently. I get really bad backache if I drive too long, or I'm in a car or seated position too long.
Yeah, backs fucking suck, don't they?
I
Backs
don't feel
are
that's
awful.
the thing I had when I was a kid. I feel like I could have done cartwheels even as a bigger guy. Like now, I drove to the airport and back, and by the time I got home, I was like, I want to lay down on some sort of just wooden, just straighten my back. Never, So that's why.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. This is a tough question because it feels like there's loads of answers, but also like I want like good answers, because like you say, there are lots of things that are just like, this is sad because I'm old now. But like, I mean, for me, in the area I currently live, but won't be for much longer, we made quite a lot of friends in like LGBTQ groups.
Yeah.
And like for quite a big chunk of that, we were the old ones. And like,
wow.
And there would be people we'd be hanging out with who was like, if I'd been like a bit more active as a teenager, you could be my actual child, and that's weird. And I don't love that.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There was for some reason we were gathered for this meetup, and for some reason people were showing their like first Facebook photos, and I showed one of mine, and someone we were sat with showed a photo they had taken the same year, and it was just a baby, and that's not amazing, that's not what you necessarily want. Yeah, so. Yeah, I've been, and there'll be times where, you'll just say, oh yeah, you'll remember this TV show, and they'll be like, I feel like that TV show has probably not been spoken about since I was like minus 10 years old. Do you know what I mean? You'll just be like, Otis the Aardvark, and they'll be like, what the fuck are you talking about? That's weird.
You mean like when I mentioned Evil Edna in this very podcast?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Nope. How fitting that this question
Willow
happened
and the
on
Wisp.
this
Do you remember if I say the show name Willow and the Wisp?
I think I vaguely know that that's a show. Yes,
I mean that is quite an old one even for me. That's one when I was a kid. It was probably like finishing. There's so many. Like
that's
one.
Weird as well though about TV shows. How they'll just like there are some shows that I watched as a kid that were definitely like 40 years old when I watched them and just happened to be on TV. Like I watched The Herbs. Did you watch The Herbs?
Never heard of that one.
It's literally a like stop motion a thing about herbs like parsley the lion and all these different, and that like it was from the 50s, but I don't know, on some TV channel in like 1994 was like, oh, we'll put this on for cheap for the kids, and now it's part of my kids' TV lexicon, but it's too old for people older than me.
But that sort of ties into my main one, I think, is that things have changed, and I think I want to say mostly for the better, but like even kids' TV shows, there was a cheap TV show called Pob. And I vaguely remember that he would basically, it was like I think it was a bald sort of kid, mannequin style kid, and he would come up to the TV and just gob at the camera essentially, and then like write his name in the gob, so it was Pob. And like I don't think he'd get. There was a show called Spit the Dog who just spat. He was a dog.
Yeah,
that just,
he did.
Yeah,
I know Spit the Dog.
But like a lot of that, things have changed so dramatically, and like discoverability is the biggest one for me. I know that sounds really weird, but we talked about it before with music. Like I still will get like excited about a band releasing an album that I will sit and listen to in its entirety, and then go and hopefully see them on tour if I can afford it or get tickets. Whereas music discoverability now is like, oh yeah, oh I love band, oh yeah, what you into of theirs? Oh, I like song name. I'm like, yeah, what else? What do you mean what else? It's just one song. That sort of stuff. Like things have changed. TV's like that now. Like I'm massively into my comedy. I love discovering a new comedy show. And like then I don't want to binge it. I want it weekly. I want that thing. Or like what we do is if there's like weekend TV shit, real shit, I find at the moment, especially for me with no sports. So we're like, oh yeah, we got that show we recorded. We can watch that episode and catch, stuff like that. Whereas I think nowadays everything's changed like that. We even like how people meet, dating. Not that I'm in the market, but like.
That always does come across as fucking alien, though, doesn't it?
It's the swiping thing. Like even that, it used to be a joke, almost like you would almost make fun of that. That is how you meet people now in terms of in a relationship thing. Like you don't go. I won't go into it. My wife was talking about this to her mum, and they used to be like, I didn't even know this was the thing, because I certainly wasn't a brave or stupid enough man to do this when I was younger. But blokes would apparently, and maybe she was just really unlucky. Blokes would just go up to you in a nightclub. That bit sounds fine, by the way. I'm not. That's fine. Okay, talk to human beings.
We're okay so far.
And then just start like dancing behind you and grinding on you and stuff, and you just like, not really interested, with my mates. And, and I'm like, I never did that.
No,
like,
same. I think I saw that though. Yeah.
I don't. If that's what the option was, and the new option is. Nope. Do you know what? That's actually fine.
That's way better. Right. Yeah,
that's
fair.
Because at least you've at least got the basis of, okay, I'm attracted to that person, and apparently they like me. Let's go from there. Anyway, there's there's
very
lots
weird.
of things that make me feel.
I actually like, by the way, that in this conversation you managed to do something that made you feel old and alien to me, because you talked about TV being bad on the weekend, and I literally can't imagine watching TV, like not just like Netflix and.
I'm the odd one there, man. Like the fact I have like Virgin Media, as my provider, and but also as like my TV provider. A lot of people are like, "What do you mean? I just use Netflix or Paramount or 100%. Disney." And I'm like, you go through the chat. I mean, to be fair, all we do is go through them and go, "There's fuck all on," and you're like, "Well, why are we paying for it?"
Yeah, because in terms of stuff like watching live TV, because I hate TV licenses. This is probably an old person conversation already. The TV license people knocking on the door and trying to be like, "Oh, have you got a TV license?"
Detective vans.
Every time that I'm horrible to them because they're annoying. So I will say,
you get that knocked.
Oh, all the time, yeah. I mean, imagine you don't because you have a TV license.
Oh, right. So they obviously have a list of people who don't.
They knock on the door. They send you threatening letters all the time.
But you don't have one because you watch TV.
Because we don't watch. And that's so. Like when they try and be, little ass, they try and come into your house to see if you have a TV, and like it's really weird and
do
like.
Do they have any
totally
like legal?
I mean, no, because I just tell them to fuck off, basically.
No, but I mean, if it was a policeman at your door with a warrant, you go, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah,
but someone knocking on my door going,
they try to pretend they have that level of authority.
Okay.
But I will basically say to them, no, I'm not 70 years old. I watch streaming services. Like, I'll tell them to fuck off in that regard. And, sorry, Adam.
You're right. I know I'm the odd one. Yeah, I know.
And I always get a bit excited when we stay at a hotel for a night, and I'm like, "Ooh, TV! It's live. Look, let's see what's on."
I can watch Gardener's World. Don't. Okay, yeah. Well, I think that's just about covered it. Thank you very much for the question, Thomas. And you can send us questions via patreon.com/lootlevelchill, which is where you can find our Discord, and we ask for questions there, but you can also just drop them on the comments to the posts. Thank you very much, Lyle, for being here, and thank you, listeners, for listening, or watchers for watching. We do appreciate it very much indeed. And if you want to, by the way, you can just buy us a coffee on the website. There's a link where you can just literally click it and send us. I like that podcast. Get yourself a coffee, lads. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Thank you very much, and we will speak to you next week or whenever you choose to listen. Bye bye for now.